Very good. Hi, everyone, and thanks, Paul, for having me here today. I'm Oliver Zerhusen, and I'm excited to introduce CryptoPols to you today. So that's the name of the platform. It tracks major developments and happenings in US crypto politics in Congress. And we develop CryptoPols to better inform crypto voters on the legislative process and to better understand the crypto sentiment views of their representatives in Congress, which also extends to candidates on your ballot in the upcoming general elections. It also facilitates in the political process as a citizen, so it helps you engaging with your representatives in Congress. And I'm going to share my screen here and pull up the website and walk you through some of those features that we have on the platform. So let me just switch over. Can you see the website?
Yep.
All right.
Yes, we can see it. We're good.
Very good. Awesome. So the website is cryptopols.com. That's polls with one L. And you are greeted here by the US map that shows you the aggregated crypto sentiment views by state of your representatives in Congress. The coloring is a theme that you'll see throughout the website, where we signal anti-crypto views in purple and pro-crypto views in Bitcoin orange. And the sentiment insights section further down on the landing page provides you with aggregated data views that give you an overall sense of where we are today. If you were to take the crypto sentiment of all Congress members and throw them in a bucket, then the average sentiment would be about fairly neutral, I would say. And that's because we have many Dems that have more anti-crypto views and Republicans that tend to be more pro-crypto. We also have more pro-crypto sentiment in the House than in the Senate overall, even though that gap actually has closed a little bit after last week's Senate view. So that was interesting to see how things have shifted a little bit. That is also on the heels of what Ron and Jake talked about earlier. CryptoPols also keeps track of legislation, and right now we are monitoring 56 of them in total. For anyone who feels that this is a bit overwhelming, we're trying to make it as easy as possible to digest for everyone, where you can filter by chamber, for example, its impact on the crypto industry, or by the status of where it's at in the legislative process. So right now, for example, we have one bill that has passed both chambers, and we're waiting right now to see what POTUS is going to do with it. We also assign categories to each legislation to make it easier to find those bills that you actually want to dive deeper into. So, for example, CBDC is one section that we have. Let's take a look at one of those bills, 5403. That is the one that Ron referenced earlier today, which is up for debate. So here is the page how we present the crypto legislation data. Now, most people in this audience are fairly familiar with the intricacies of a given bill, especially the popular ones. But what we are trying to do with CryptoPols is to make the legislative process just a little bit easier to follow for everyone who visits our website. And we know that not everyone has a deep attention span to spend an hour trying to understand what a bill is about. So we're giving quick hits here on our page, where you give an instant overall grasp of a bill. We have the category label that provides you with the scope of the bill, which could be multiple labels if there's overlap. We have sentiment ratings telling you whether a bill is more pro or anti-crypto, as well as an impact rating signaling how significant this bill is for the crypto industry overall. So in this case, we label it high. We also have a quick summary and as well as a short video, typically 3 to 5 minutes, which is of the bill sponsor introducing the bill. So overall, if you're a new user to it, you can literally spend 5 minutes and get a quick understanding of it. Further down, we also have more important information about the bill, such as the co-sponsors. So this is one that is heavily co-sponsored by the Republicans, as well as the votes. And we also track votes down to chamber votes. So, the committee votes, if they are being recorded, we track that as well. Okay, so as far as our overall coverage is concerned with Congress members, we now have covered 526 of the 500 seats in Congress. So we pretty much have the crypto sentiment rating for everyone in Congress except for a handful of them. And the reason why we have such deep coverage is due to the fact that we're not just collecting crypto sentiment data on public statements, such as social media posts, article quotes, or interviews, but also on legislative actions. That includes bill sponsoring data, Congress letters on topics of crypto that Congress members send out to third parties, such as the SEC or Treasury. And we also include voting records for each politician on bills, like the one we have scheduled for later today. So if you want to know how your House representative has voted on the bill, you can check that on CryptoPols. We'll probably have that data uploaded tomorrow morning. So how would you do that if you wanted to check that out? You can go to the landing page up here and select your congressperson directly. And if you don't know who your actual representatives in Congress are, you can actually quickly find them. So we have a feature here where you just simply need to enter your zip code. Let's use mine, and I'm in Minnesota. And you can find your representatives in Congress that covers both the Senate and the House. So we feel this is an important feature because, again, not everyone might actually know that. And you can see in my case, I'm in Minnesota District number 3. I happen to be all Democrats in the Senate. And here is an interesting one because we have Dean Phillips, who's a Democrat with a slightly pro-crypto view. So you can click on it and actually dive deeper into it, why that is. You can see sort of like the reasons for that. You see here the public statements and legislative actions. You can click on them to see the details. And it is a bit of a mixed bag where we feel these shared some pro-crypto views, some anti-crypto views. But if you scroll further down, you can see his voting record. And here we are capturing the voting record for the 2 bills that have gone up so far for deploying American Blockchains Act and 109 as well. And he has voted both in favor of them. So that gives him essentially then the overall crypto rating that is more positive. If I wanted to engage with Dean Phillips and express my crypto views with him, you can also generate a letter through CryptoPols, starting with a few simple clicks. First selecting which crypto view that you want to express. You can actually add a specific legislation in here that you want to support. And then you can highlight a specific feature of crypto that you want to express in your letter too. And you quickly have a letter generated that we have accomplished with the help of AI here a little bit. So you simply now have to copy that. You can go on his website, paste that in, enter your personal detailed information, and send it off. So again, we are trying to make it as easy as possible, and really, hope that folks can take advantage of the features that we have here for the different things that you can engage in the political process with. Now, we also have the general elections covered, and that has been our latest release. We actually released that yesterday. We had our initial launch of the 2024 Election Center, where we are aiming to give users the ability to check the crypto sentiment of every candidate on your ballot running for Congress in all 50 states, 435 districts. Big goal. So let's jump right into the House, and let me show you how this looks like. In the Election Center, you can select your state. So let's start with the one that I'm living in, that is District number 3. And here we have no data yet. So the reason is what we are showing on our webpage is confirmed candidates on the ballot for the general elections, which means we're not covering the primaries. And in Minnesota, it happens to be, I think, in mid-August when the primaries are going to conclude. So that data will be populated as soon as that is available back then. But let's pick one where we have actually some data. I think in California, it's already further along. And this is essentially how the data will be presented to you, where you can see the sentiment of the candidates on the ballot that are confirmed with their overall sentiment ratings, as well as the latest data point that we have collected around crypto. Now, what is interesting is that you don't always find examples where you have opposing views. If we go to the Senate, for example, for a minute, you can actually see, I think in Maryland, we have an interesting case that I came across. In Maryland, you have already confirmed candidates on the ballot. And you can now see that you have 3 candidates across different parties that we currently have a strongly pro-crypto rating for. And that's sort of like a message that I want to leave you with today as I'm concluding my demo here, what we are seeing early on, we've been collecting data on candidates that are non-incumbents for about a month or so, and we've collected data for about 80 to 100 candidates or so. What we are seeing overwhelmingly so far is that in this candidate pool, and that is across party lines, we are actually seeing a much more broader support for pro-crypto policy views than what you're currently seeing in Congress. And I think that is, if that trend holds, it's certainly something very positive, something that makes me hopeful that we have maybe a more crypto-friendly Congress in the next term. But that's definitely something that we're seeing early on. And this concludes the demo that I've done here. I yield back my time back to Chairman Brickner.